What's going on, chat? So I didn't really plan anything for this video, but I just wanted to talk to you about the books that I have been reading and the books that I'm currently on right now. So welcome to Teddy's Book Club, and these are some of the books I'm going to be talking about. Sick. Okay, so I got this one, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, classic, released in 1937, and I've not actually read the book. I've read the audiobook a couple of times, but there's some questions in the very back which I still need to spend like a day on, and it's just like talking me through, just a self-analysis test questions. I'll read you a few of them, but this is at the very end of the book, and I just wanted to have it on like a paper format so I can like fill it out like a textbook style. And I'll read you some of the questions. Do you often complain of feeling bad? If so, what is the cause? Do you find fault with other people at the slightest provocation? Do you frequently make mistakes in your life? If so, why? Do you often feel self-pity? If so, why? Do you suffer from the 6 basic fears? It's just a lot of questions to really know yourself, yes, but and the purpose of this exercise is that if you answered it all truthfully, and there's a chunk amount of questions, then you should know yourself better than the majority of people know themselves. And I think that's quite freaking good, and I can't believe I've not done it yet. But one of my favorite parts about this book is the bit where he talks about sexual transmutation, which is how I relate it. It's just, semen retention, no fap, and just reminding myself that is life's purpose at the end of the day. And I'm just wasting it around. I'm wasting it on some IG models, like, even though they're fucking dank, like, I'm just spilling my seed like it's nothing. The importance of influencing the subconscious mind. And I think this book is just one of the foundational texts, the foundational reading in the self-help community. And very good, highly recommended. One though The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. This book is a spirituality book, and this one does not hold back, bro. Oh my goodness, because it talks about the typical aspects of spirituality, consciousness, infinite energy, but the bit that really got me is when he talks about death. He says to often contemplate death, contemplate the worst possible scenario, and then you can actually learn from that, and in a way that makes you more grateful. No choice, Michael. Literally, no choice, Michael. It is truly a great cosmic paradox that one of the best teachers in all of life turns out to be death. No person or situation could ever teach you as much as death has to teach you. While someone could tell you that you are not your body, death shows you. So that's towards the end of the book, but in the beginning, it's kind of like, I wouldn't say a standard spirituality book, but it talks about in detail how you actually find yourself closing up without you realizing it. You close up when you are in certain situations that trigger some next emotions, and just reading about it helps you just be that much more aware of it. At the beginning, he says that you have the choice to not close up. You can always be open, and it's in the consciousness, it's in the awareness. And the last sentence of this book is, and if God is in ecstasy, I wonder what he sees when he looks at you. Thank you. That was very lovely. Thank you, Michael. I apologize if my analysis just seems very, very unconstructed, because I didn't plan this, but calm. I'd recommend this. It's pretty good. Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. I like this book. I've had a great experience reading this book. I think this is the fastest book I've read. This is just a great This is Nisha Dolan's debut book, and I think it's her only book. But her writing style, the concept of the story, basically, Ava is in her gap year in Hong Kong, working as an English tutor, and basically, and then she meets this rich Hong Kong local, Edith, and it becomes a weird love triangle, and nothing really happens in the book. Like, there's no major plot in a sense, but the main story is in the way Ava, the main protagonist, is overthinking. And apparently people don't like Ava because she's just indecisive and whatnot. And I can see that. I can see like why people think she's just over the top. And I did think that throughout parts of the book. But then I realised, yo, I'm also indecisive in the same ways as she is. Maybe not in the same extent, but to see and read someone like overthinking like that, kind of, even though this isn't a spiritual book, I just make everything freaking spiritual. But yeah, that just really helped me be more aware of my running thoughts in a way. And yeah, I like this book because it talks about rich people and traveling and Hong Kong, and I think, yeah, this book was very much enjoyed it. People compare it to Sally Rooney. I've not read any of Sally Rooney's stuff, but find this freaking sick. Another book that I've read recently, but I don't have with me, is A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. And I think this was originally published in 1946. Frankl is a psychiatrist who has experienced several camps, a few in Auschwitz. So he's fully had the experience of seeing how these camps are run, seeing how guards are mistreating them, even inmates who have a little bit of power over them, seeing how they go wild with power. And it's a mad one. It makes you think, the way he was describing his situations makes me just think of everyday living right now. I think this whole concept is amazing. And Victor he's the originator of logotherapy. And the basis of logotherapy, from what I gathered from it, is that it's like you're living with a second revive. It's like a second chance of life. And you've already did your wrongdoing the first time round. So this is your chance to make up for it. That is sick. I know everything I say is sick, but wow, that is beautiful still. It's beautiful in the concept that it was delivered in, obviously, the Holocaust, which another thing I got from the book is that people have two types of purposes. So they have the overall purpose in the grand scheme of things, but they also have a purpose that is moment by moment. Not every day and not every moment your purpose is wild and magnificent. Sometimes your purpose is just enjoying your presence with your family, or cooking your dinner and just pushing the button, or like washing the dishes. And like, I know it's like mundane, but that can be your purpose as well. And that can be like the little things in life and every day can be fulfilling as well. That was beautiful. Thank you, Victor. Yeah, that's a crazy book still. So these are the books that I'm currently reading. Let's start with this one. This one is The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Again, another self-help, self-improvement, foundational text reading. And yeah, this is my second time reading it. The first time I got halfway and just stopped, because this book, there's a lot of action steps, and the first time round, when it got to those action steps, I just got lazy. Like, for real, I just got lazy. But now I'm using it as a textbook. And yeah, you probably may have heard of 4-Hour Work Week already. So before Tim actually tells you how to get money, he tells you a lot about the distractions, about how limiting your information will actually help you more than cutting down your time, cutting down your workload. So early in the book, before we actually get into the business side of things, Tim talks to us about how we can have better attention, limit our information usage. And I just think that's beautifully done, because like, if you're just distracted all the time, if you're just working for the sake of work's sake, then it doesn't matter how much you're making, because you're just going to be overwhelmed. You're just going to be overwhelmed time-wise, energy-wise, You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not really gonna be enjoying the fruits of your labor if you're not cutting down the bullshit, essentially. I'm slowly at the bit where he tells us about how to actually run ads, or like how to actually make a successful product and how to test it out before even making that product, which sounds illegal, but Tim Ferriss, baby. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is known for The Power of Now. The book is about this present moment. This present moment, your endless chatter, your mental chatter, your pain body, your feeling of unfulfillment, of lethargic. All of that can be dissolved in this present moment. And when I read this, it was just over a year now. Oh my goodness, this book is very wonderful. I recommend it to everyone. If you can just like be patient, because it's a bit like reading it's a bit weird, because it's like he repeats a lot of it, like to be in the present moment you need to be now, and to be now you need to be letting go of which that isn't the present moment. So it's kind of like I can see why some people are turned off by it and by spirituality from that, because it's like, what are you saying? But when you realize what he's saying, the message is not in the words, but it's beyond that. And now even I'm sounding like some next esoteric wishy-washy bullshit, but like if you can just see beyond and past that, it will change your life. Trust me, you will just feel so much lighter. The mental chatter in your mind, you can observe that, and you can no longer be like trapped by it. That alone. So far he's saying that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So it's why the human dysfunction is manifested into wars and racism and Holocaust. And before we can fix any of that, we need to work on ourselves first. It starts from each one of us, from within. Please bear with the esoteric, wishy-washy nonsense. Heaven is not a physical location, but the inner realm of consciousness. I'm gonna leave it at that. But basically, it's just been a reiteration of the power of now, which is what I need, because I just want to refresh my mind on the spiritual fundamentals of something like the power of now. So yeah, so far so good. Alright, 3 books left. This one was lended to me by Keisha. Shout out to Keisha. Thanks, Keisha. Yeah, so this one's basically a K-drama, and it's How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. So far, it's been a calm read. Earlier on in the book, the author, basically it's about a rich high school in New York is two-facing this rich girl of the clique, and that rich girl's, she's basically the number one student, the prize possession, the fuck, all of that. And yeah, basically she dies, and the way I'm describing these books is amazing. Yeah, so yeah, she dies, and then they have this social media called Tip Tap, where people can just post shit anonymously, and basically someone called the Proctor is sending out hints as to who killed that rich girl, and the hints lead back to each member of the friendship group, which is juicy. And so far it's been okay. Like, again, a lot of it has been so on the nose, and normally I'm not even the type to like guess where the story is going, but I don't know, so far it just feels like Katie has just been putting it on a plate for me, but I want to find a buffet. I don't even know where I'm going with that comparison still, but I am enjoying it. It's quite a simple read so far. You just need that simple fiction here and now and then. Sweet. Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. You probably heard of this if you're in the self-improvement, entrepreneur rabbit hole. But yeah, before I read this book, I thought it was about manipulation and being cunning and deceiving. And now that I'm reading this book, it's exactly that. In the preface, Greene he basically just justifies it in the preface, saying you basically may as well just know the rules of the game. And what's funny is that he says that there are people who claim that they're not into this manipulative game, they're not into this bullshit. Those are the people you should be aware about. which I don't know if that in itself is manipulative, but shit, you got me green. Yeah, so far this book has been sick. I love his references in different types of, like, for each rule, he uses great examples from different points of history of how people have been using power or have been a victim of power. Again, I'm very early in this book, but it's been very, very sick. Let me read you some of the rules. And they make sense, like the way he puts it, like it makes sense. Never outshine the master. So before I actually got this book, I was watching summaries of the book. And one of the rules, the first rule is never outshine the master. And just from that, like, I didn't really read it too much. Back then, I didn't really read. That was helpful for me, because anyone, when they're teaching you something, whether that be in the workplace or just, you're always trying to learn something, just shut up. Just shut up. That's how I interpret it. Just shut up, and just, even though you may know somewhat of the knowledge, just shut up. But basically you can always learn. That's how I interpreted it, but I was wrong. The way he uses this law is that if you show too much of your skill to your superior, they could get jealous or not feel like they're good enough, and being that they're your superior, that's not gonna go sweet for you. So yeah, that's freaking sick. Thanks for that, bro. Law 2 is never put too much trust in your friends. Learn how to use enemies. The basis of what he's trying to say here is that friends expects shit and then more, whereas if you tactfully use an enemy, they expect nothing but in return. Just because you show them compassion, they're willing to be more loyal from that, because they didn't expect anything in the first place. Yes, just so much knowledge and references and stories. Even well recommended. I mean, I've not even finished it, but yeah, so far so good. Finally, we have David Data's The Way of the Superior Man, and it says right here, it's a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. I'm halfway through the book, and I'm pleasantly surprised about how much spiritual base it is. Time and time again, it reminds us just to be in the present moment, which I'm a freaking big fan of. And the main theme of this book is feminine and masculine energy, and we're gonna get away from the societal perspective on everyone should be equal. However, the polarity of feminine and masculine energy is why people aren't content with themselves. And just seeing, because before I just thought like I should be an equal amount. I know this now that I'm looking back at it, is mad. But I used to hone in equally to my feminine and masculine energy. I wasn't content. It's not saying you should just completely neglect your feminine energy, because you're gonna need aspects of it. But yeah, it's not 50-50 within yourself. Anyways, David Data, a main point he makes throughout the book is that how you penetrate the world is how you penetrate your girl, or vice versa. And that is very helpful in the short time I've been reading this, because the feminine energy is very deep and flowing and and always changing, similar to the circumstances of the world. Before I would, and that's another point he makes in his book, is that I've always wanted my females just to be easy. I couldn't be bothered with the challenges, and that is a terrible way of approaching women and the world, which I'm kind of seeing the two as one. He doesn't say that, but the way I've been reading it, it just makes sense. Like, the way you do penetrate your girl is the same way as you penetrate your woman. If you're timidly just going through the day half-assed, then you're most likely also approaching your woman that way, just not with depths and love. He says that if you don't know your purpose, you should find it now. Again, with just being half-hearted with things, he should say, just do everything in the depths of your inner being. Again, more spiritual than I thought it was gonna be, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this book, and I think I'm halfway through yet, but it's one of them books that's changing my life. David Data, The Way of a Superior Man. So yeah, thank you for joining me in my book club. I'll probably have more detailed reviews of each of these books later down the line, but yeah, I just wanted to talk some books with you. Reading is paying. Pick up a book. Love.